So, this video here is going to be a little more ad-libbed than general because I'm just shooting the shit, basically. I'm just ranting. And I thought, what better to rant about but than the OG, current, worst video game company on the planet, EA. Because apparently EA doesn't seem to understand why they're the bad guys. Yeah, okay, EA. Sure. So, before we start this, I just want to say now there's not going to be any kind of script. So I'm just straight ad-libbing. I'm going to be messing up. I'm just going to be talking and just generally putting my thoughts out there. So don't expect me to be all articulate and shit and expect some cursing here and there because I really want to get my point out. First off, if you haven't read the article, you probably should. I read it before this and it was like, oh, and their only real argument on why they're not the bad guys is, oh, but we fund the thing. We fund EA Originals. We fund small indie companies so they're able to make video games when they couldn't. And I'll agree. That's a good thing. But, that doesn't excuse all the multiple years of shit that you guys have done? ? Kel'Thuzad, a major, I'm not sure why I'm using Warcraft, but Kel'Thuzad has a pet, what's it called? A pet cat, a living pet cat that he takes care of and treats with so much kindness and love and care and adoration. That doesn't make him a good guy. Hitler was an artist and did a lot of things for the German people. Doesn't make him a good guy. I'm pretty sure a lot of bad people do a lot of good for certain things and people with no reason besides they're just trying to be nice to them. That doesn't make them good guys. That's not how it works, EA. You don't get to just do one good thing that you're probably only doing for PR rep in the first place and get to be considered good guys. Not how it works, not how the real world works, not how the video game world works, nothing how any of this works. But here, now let's explain why people see you as a bad guy. Okay, here's one reason. Your constant lies. Like, outright obscene amount of constant lies. Remember back in 2015 or something like that, where they created the first Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, and they went like, all right, guys, we know this game has problems, but we'll do better next time. It'll be good next time. And then Battlefront 2 came out, and then it had one of the biggest controversies of loot boxes ever, to the point where it's honestly probably their fault that loot boxes are being, they've always been seen as poor, but it's their fault that we're now getting legislative looking down at loot boxes because of what they did in not Call of Duty, in that Battlefront game. That's their fault. But don't worry, they'll do better next time. This time we promise we won't try to do anything and treat you guys like shit. Or how about that lie where they were like, look, we need microtransactions into our video games. If we don't have microtransactions in our video games, how will we possibly make money? Video games are so expensive and hard to make. We need to put microtransactions into our video games. And then when they removed them from Battlefront, you know what they told their stockholders? Don't wait. You guys don't have to leave. We can still make money even without microtransactions. So which one is it? Do you need microtransactions or do you want microtransactions? You can't get both, EA. You get one. Either you need microtransactions or you want microtransactions. You can't say that you need these things, remove them, and say, oh yeah, we'll still make enough of a profit to be able to make back our return. So that's just, you guys are liars. You guys are also not even horrible just to your consumers. You guys are horrible to your own employees. Seriously, look back at my video about how I talked about how EA are actual parasites. Every single time they absorb a company into them, one of two things happen. Either they manage to luckily keep going and they're giving just enough leeway to keep making the game they want, but I could probably say 80 to 90% of the time now, what happens when companies get absorbed into EA, they are forced to be pushed into and make focus tested games that they have no real way of making properly. And then EA is like, we don't understand. Look, we had to subsidize them. We had to absorb them into the company. They weren't making any money. Maybe if you let them make what they were good at rather than trying to make them make games just because you base it off focus testing, you wouldn't need to get rid of them, EA. But we're not the bad guys though. We're not the bad guys though. Sure, we force them to make games they don't want to make or aren't good at, but we're not the bad guys though. Seriously though, I'm still calling it in like 4 to 5 years, BioWare is gonna also be dead. With how poorly Anthem's being perceived right now, with how poorly Andromeda was perceived, they're following tit for tat the exact same things that happened with Visceral Games. The exact same thing that happened with Maxis. The exact same thing that happened with all of their various other companies that they've absorbed. It's almost a exact same timeline they are following for what is happening to those companies that's going to happen to BioWare. If BioWare disappears in the next couple of years, it's just more proof that they are doing this intentionally to get just franchises and just trying to suck all the soul, all the money out of it until it's like, oh, well, you guys are dead now. You're useless to us. Goodbye. Enjoy getting new jobs, idiots. Ugh. What else is wrong with them? They were one of the people who kind of pushed, we can't have used games in the market. We have to put DRM into our video games. No, you wanted to put DRM into their video games. My friends were literally talking about today about how, so remember when Spore game, right? It was obviously like a massive lie of what you could do with it, but it still was pretty well received. It wasn't the best game, but it was still a very well received game, you know? Did you know that Spore had a sequel that was overtly dark and edgy? Because it's another time where EA was like, we focus tested this, and this is what we think people want. No, people don't want overtly edgy for no good reason. People are fine with edgy as long as there's a reason for it. What's a good example? I'm trying to think of an example where like overtly edgy was, you know what? Darksiders, right? That game is basically just Legend of Zelda, but it's edgy. But it fits into the context of the game because you are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It makes sense that it's kind of dark and edgy. But when they do things like, there's a really cool, interesting game type that's coming out soon. Well, apparently people don't like that, so we're going to focus test it and make it just a generic blend everyday shooter. Oh, it didn't sell well? Well, we don't know what we did wrong. We don't know why it didn't sell well. It's not our fault that we forced this into doing this thing. What could possibly be wrong here? Yeah, so there's just no way. I refuse to believe that this multi-billion-dollar company actually and actively believes that they are the good guys, or that they somehow don't see all the backlash in game after game after game after game to not see and understand why they're considered bad guys. Like, legit? Really? What do you need? Do you need to see the consumers saying, we don't want loot boxes? Do we need to be like coming to your offices with signs and pitchforks saying, we don't want loot boxes in our game anymore? Speaking of loot boxes, let's talk about that utter embarrassment of an announcement they made at whatever the UK legislation or it's called. Surprise mechanics? Really? Yeah, no, that's bullshit. So first off, let's talk about how the chick who went on the panel and was talking about that was like, we don't call them loot boxes. Except when you do call them loot boxes, like when you were talking about Star Wars, the new Star Wars game you're making, and said they were loot boxes, and then called them loot boxes in any other cases where where they were trying to be like, oh yeah, guys, we're getting rid of loot boxes, like in Battlefront 2, or that anytime you called them loot boxes, and any other time you called them loot boxes when it was positive for you, but you don't call them loot boxes though, right? Oh wait, look, more lies, and yet you wonder why you're the bad guys, right? Yeah, okay. And surprise mechanics, really? How much of an EA executive codpiece more could you be? Surprise mechanics, that's bullshit. And you know it. I'm fairly sure that chick, when she was talking, was like, oh god, I know what I'm saying is bullshit. Like, seriously, go watch that video of her talking about like trying to defend it. And she's like, and if you just look into her eyes, you can just see the level of contempt she has. I'm not sure if it's for herself or what she was told to say, but it's actually kind of almost cringeworthy just how bad it is. It really, really is. And she looks like she is this utterly soulless puppet, and she doesn't even agree with the own thing she's saying. It's actually kind of depressing. But yeah, surprise mechanics. Oh, and also another EA executive was like, well, we're doing this because people find it fun. Nah, bitch. People don't find it fun. You guys just do it because either make it pay to win, or you do it and put transactions in for the sake of making more money with less profit. Let people buy what they want. That's what they find fun. They find fun in the customization that they want. But you won't do that. You won't allow that. You realized a long time ago that if you put in less work and just add in loot boxes, you cannot put in the amount of work to just get a set amount of money. No, you want all the money. Sure, you could just let them buy straight up. In fact, goes beyond just EA, but any company that puts something behind a loot box and says, oh, it's just cosmetic, it doesn't matter, is a lying sack of shit. Any company who does it. Period. I don't care if it's Riot. Riot has should get blasted for this too when it comes to the Little Legends thing. The fact that there's things hidden only behind loot boxes is bullshit. If it truly didn't matter, make it free if it doesn't matter. Oh, but we need money because we spent time on it. Okay. Now give me a single solitary good reason why you can't just let the people buy what they want. I will, in fact, if someone can give me a single reason, even one reason why companies don't just let people buy exactly what they want over putting it in a loot box, I will just give you my channel. I'll close the channel down. Give me one good reason why they should beyond just personal greed. Spoiler alert. There isn't one. No company puts loot boxes into their game over just letting people just buy it straight up, because they all know that with loot boxes, they can make people spend more to get what they want. At times it's just cosmetic, but they know that they can make people just spend more for what they want rather than just paying the one payment for the things they do want. It's manipulative as shit. It's exploitative as shit. And this goes beyond just EA doing this. Any company that puts items behind just loot boxes and doesn't let you buy it straight up is exploiting you and treating you like you're an idiot and think that you don't see this. Any person in the video game industry who sees this can know. But let's get back on topic and keep shit talking EA, because shit talking EA is fun because they're stupid. And they're greedy, and they're assholes, and the sooner they disappear from the video game industry, the better. Let's see, what else is wrong with them? I will give them this, though. I will give them this. After they did talk about how they did help indie developers who would never have a chance to get their games on there get big with this thing, you know? EA Originals is really good for helping us get really good games out that these developers couldn't have pushed at all by themselves. Like The Way Out, Unravel, great games. But when your own developers, seriously, what was it? The Game Show 2017, the guy who came on stage was like, fuck you, EA, while working directly under you. You don't see that as kind of bad, as kind of pathetic, as kind of sad that your own employee is insulting you? Like, really? Really? Yeah, that kind of shows that just how bad you are at your jobs, EA. How utterly pathetic you are at your jobs, EA. That your own employees are going on, like, not national TV, but worldwide Twitch and going like, yeah, my employers suck. Microtransactions are shit. Ugh. Now, once again, I made it clear in my other videos, I don't hate microtransactions. I just hate how they are exploitative now. I just utterly hate that and how they manipulated it. So EA, the reason people see you as bad guys is because you lie constantly. You're like, oh, we'll do better the next time. And then you don't do better. You do other egregious, greedy, stupid practices over and over again. You constantly lie to not only your consumers, but your employees as well. Where they will make a game, it won't. And instead of you guys taking cuts to your pay cut when profits are down, the employees under you get cuts. Like, I love Nintendo because when Nintendo has down years, it's the higher ups who make more money than every single other person in the company who takes hits so the employees stay happy. But no, you guys, well, I mean, this game failed and it's our executive fault for pushing this. But you know what? Just fire them. I mean, yes, this is our fault. This game ended up poor because we were having them make a game they didn't have any real experience making. But fire the people at the bottom. Yeah, capitalism. What do you mean no one wants to work at our company anymore? And it's just like, really? So no, I refuse to believe these people at EA don't understand why they're bad guys. I don't even think everyone at EA is probably bad. There's probably people there who actually do care about video games. But for the people at the top who are actually making the decisions, they don't give a fuck about you. They barely give a fuck about their employees. They are happy with the crunch. They're happy with treating their consumers like shit, as they keep telling us the same lies over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. In fact, I'm calling it now. The new Star Wars games, right? That was advertised of having no loot boxes. Either one or two things are going to happen. Either loot boxes will eventually get added, and they will, backpedal on yet another lie. Or, if they don't have loot boxes, there's just going to be some egregious levels of microtransactions, like, oh, you don't get to use your force powers unless you pay. Or, day one on the disc DLC. Oh, it doesn't really matter. You can we slice this out of the game, the base game, sure, but, you can still beat the game without it, so you don't need it, right? Or there's just going to be, down the line, they're going to add some kind of overtly manipulative and egregious microtransaction that shouldn't be taken out of the game. Remember when you could play a game and buy a game, and there was extra stuff after beating the game? Now it's just like, alright, screw you guys giving you more enjoyment, give us more money, and you will too. Ugh, whatever. Like I said, this is just my thoughts and, talking about why everyone hates you, EA, why you're the bad guys. Since you're apparently too stupid to know, I refuse to believe. Look, I'm going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to assume you guys aren't actually moronic. I'm going to assume you guys aren't actually that stupid. I know for a fact you guys aren't that stupid. There's no way you get that high in a company and get that much money and be stupid. I just don't believe that. What's more likely is that you know why people think you're the bad guys. You know why you're seen as the bad guys. You just don't care because you only care about money. And I'm not saying don't make money. Just don't be pieces of shit about it. Is that so hard? Well, apparently because you'd much rather be giving multi-million dollar bonuses to your CEOs and letting off hundreds of your employees at the very bottom. You guys suck. You are actual trash. I hate you. I'm never buying any of your products again. I might eventually, when the next Dragon Age comes out, after like a year, I might buy it when I know not a single cent's going to you. But fuck EA. Hashtag fuck EA. I hope we can get more people on board with this so eventually, they won't be able to pull this shit anymore. I doubt it, but at least we can hope. On a more fun-sided note, I will be getting what my next LP is soon. I still haven't figured it out yet. I really don't know. I might play something old school, might play something newer. I just do not know yet. But this is a fun little tie-over until then. Either way, I'm finally out. I hope you enjoyed my little rants. I will see you guys next time. Later.